The galactic summit of arrogance. The crystalline walls of the Grand Council chamber on Nexus Station reflected starlight in impossible patterns, casting prismatic shadows across the gathering of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. 5 alien delegations occupied the massive chamber, each seated at their designated platform suspended in zero gravity, connected by shimmering energy bridges that defied conventional physics. At the center of this cosmic amphitheater floated the human delegation, represented by Dr. Sarah Martinez, a woman whose calm demeanor betrayed nothing of the revolutionary secrets humanity carried. The Military Technology Symposium had been called to assess the relative strength of each major power in the galaxy, a tradition that had maintained peace through mutual understanding for millennia. Ambassador Thrax of the Kryn Empire rose first, his crystalline exoskeleton catching the ambient light as he activated his presentation orb. The chamber darkened, replaced by holographic projections of sleek, blade-like vessels that seemed to cut through space itself. "Behold the pride of the Kryn Armada," Thrax announced, his voice resonating through translation matrices. "Our plasma lance technology can pierce through 17 layers of neutronium armor. Each vessel carries enough firepower to reduce a planet to molten slag within hours." The hologram demonstrated a Kryn dreadnought unleashing a torrent of superheated plasma that carved through an asteroid field like a hot knife through butter. The gathered delegates murmured appreciatively, except for Dr. Martinez, who simply observed with professional interest. Next came Ambassador Velkath of the Vorlax Confederacy, a being of pure energy contained within a humanoid shell. Impressive displays of destruction, she acknowledged with diplomatic grace. But true superiority lies in defense. The chamber transformed again, showing Vorlax ships surrounded by shimmering quantum shields that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Our quantum barrier technology renders us invulnerable to conventional weaponry. We exist partially out of phase with normal space-time, making direct hits impossible. As the demonstration continued, energy beams and projectiles passed harmlessly through the Vorlax ships, their shields creating ripples in reality itself. The other delegates shifted uncomfortably, realizing the implications of such defensive capabilities. High Executor Zorn of the Zentari Dominion floated forward on his anti-gravity throne, his multiple eyes focusing on different delegates simultaneously. "Technology is limited by the minds that wield it," he proclaimed. "The Zentari have transcended such limitations." The holographic display shifted to show Zentari vessels moving in perfect synchronization, executing complex maneuvers that would be impossible for conventional crews. Our neural link network allows a single mind to control an entire fleet. Our ships respond to thought itself, achieving tactical perfection beyond the capabilities of individual operators. The demonstration showed Zentari ships performing intricate battle formations, adapting to threats with supernatural precision. The collective consciousness of their fleet created a symphony of destruction that left the other delegates visibly impressed. Shadow Weaver Crix of the Umbral Collective emerged from the darkness at the edge of the chamber, her form seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it. "You play with forces you barely understand," she whispered, her voice carrying despite its softness. "The Umbral Collective has harnessed the fundamental darkness between stars." The chamber plunged into absolute blackness, broken only by the appearance of ships that seemed made of solidified shadow. "Our dark matter weaponry doesn't destroy. It erases. We remove our enemies from existence itself, leaving no trace they ever were." As the demonstration progressed, target vessels simply ceased to exist, creating voids in space where matter could no longer occupy. The effect was so disturbing that several delegates physically recoiled from the display. Finally, Symbiarch Quellan of the Quarian Alliance approached the center, their biological form shifting and adapting to the environment. "You speak of technology and physics," they said, their voice a harmonious blend of multiple tones. "But life itself is the ultimate weapon." The hologram revealed living ships, vessels that were organisms in their own right. "Our bioships grow, adapt, and evolve during combat. They heal from damage, learn from each encounter, and can spawn new vessels during battle. They are not built. They are born. The demonstration showed Quarian vessels regenerating from catastrophic damage, adapting their structures to counter specific threats, and dividing like cells to create new ships mid-battle. The organic nature of their fleet represented a fundamentally different approach to space warfare. Throughout all these presentations, Dr. Martinez remained silent, taking occasional notes on her datapad. Her composure began to irritate the other delegates, who interpreted her silence as either arrogance or intimidation. "And what of humanity?" Thrax finally demanded, his crystalline form radiating disdain. "Your species achieved faster than light travel mere decades ago. Surely you must recognize your inferiority at this gathering." The other delegates chuckled, their various forms of laughter creating a discordant symphony of condescension. Dr. Martinez finally looked up from her notes, a slight smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Your demonstrations have been most educational," she said calmly. "I've learned a great deal about your various approaches to space warfare. Each of you has developed impressive technologies within your understanding of physics." "Within our understanding?" Velkath questioned, her energy form flickering with curiosity and annoyance. "Indeed," Martinez continued. "You've all mastered various aspects of conventional physics: plasma dynamics, quantum mechanics, neural networking, dark matter manipulation, and biological engineering. Impressive achievements, certainly. And what has humanity mastered?" Zorn asked, his multiple eyes narrowing suspiciously. Martinez stood, her human form seeming small compared to the alien delegates, yet her presence suddenly commanded the chamber. "We ask ourselves a different question," she said, "not what physics allows, but why physics exists as it does." The chamber fell silent, the implications of her words slowly dawning on the gathered aliens. "The UES Prometheus is currently maintaining position exactly 0.3 light seconds from this station," Martinez announced. "If you would join me at Observation Deck Alpha, you may find the experience enlightening." Confusion rippled through the alien delegates. Their sensors had detected no human vessels in the vicinity. Nevertheless, curiosity and pride compelled them to follow Martinez to the observation deck, each convinced they would witness humanity's humiliation. As they gathered before the massive viewport overlooking the star-studded void, Thrax spoke what they were all thinking. "There's nothing there, human. Have you brought us here to admit your—" His words died as reality itself seemed to hiccup. Where empty space had existed moments before, something impossible now occupied their field of vision. The UES Prometheus didn't arrive. It simply began existing, as if it had always been there, but they had only now been allowed to perceive it. The ship defied description. Its hull appeared to be simultaneously solid and intangible, existing in multiple states of matter that shifted and flowed like liquid metal. Geometric patterns that hurt the mind to observe traced across its surface, suggesting dimensions beyond the standard 3. The vessel seemed to be both infinitely large and precisely sized, a paradox that challenged the very nature of spatial perception. How? Velkath's energy form destabilized momentarily. Our quantum sensors detected nothing. Because it wasn't hiding, Martinez explained. It was simply existing in a state your sensors aren't equipped to recognize. What you're seeing is what we call a reality anchor, a vessel that doesn't move through space-time, but rewrites the fundamental laws that govern it. The alien delegates watched in stunned silence as the Prometheus began to demonstrate capabilities that shouldn't be possible. Sections of the ship phased in and out of existence, not cloaking but actually ceasing to be before reforming. Energy readings fluctuated wildly, showing power signatures that exceeded the output of small stars. "This is impossible," Crix whispered, her shadow form trembling. "You're violating fundamental constants." "No," Martinez corrected gently. "We're revealing that what you considered constants were merely local conditions. The universe is far more flexible than you imagined." As the aliens struggled to comprehend what they were witnessing, Martins delivered the final revelation that would forever change the balance of power in the galaxy. No, Martins corrected gently. We're revealing that what you considered constants were merely local conditions. The universe is far more flexible than you imagined. As the aliens struggled to comprehend what they were witnessing, Martins delivered the final revelation that would forever change the balance of power in the galaxy. By the way, she added casually, the Prometheus is one of our smaller vessels, a frigate, in our classification system. The observation deck fell into absolute silence as 5 of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations realized they had just witnessed the dawn of a new era, one in which humanity's understanding of reality itself made their greatest achievements seem like children's toys. And somewhere in the depths of space, the rest of humanity's fleet waited, patient and invisible, ready to reshape the very fabric of the cosmos. The revelation of Project Phoenix. The silence on Observation Deck Alpha stretched into uncomfortable territory as the alien delegates processed what they were witnessing. The UES Prometheus continued its impossible dance with reality, its form shifting between states of existence that defied every known law of physics. Ambassador Thrax was the first to break the silence, his crystalline form vibrating with barely contained agitation. This is trickery, some form of advanced holographic. His protest died as the Prometheus suddenly inverted its spatial orientation, turning inside out while somehow maintaining structural integrity. The maneuver created gravitational ripples that the station's sensors registered as impossible anomalies. I assure you, Ambassador, what you're seeing is quite real, Dr. Martins said calmly. She gestured to the tactical display that materialized beside the viewport. Perhaps a demonstration would help clarify things. The display showed a detailed schematic of the Prometheus, but instead of conventional systems, it revealed patterns of energy that seemed to flow through dimensions beyond normal space. At the ship's core pulsed something labeled simply as Reality Engine. When humanity first ventured into space, Martinez began, we quickly realized that we were late to the game. Your civilizations had thousands of years head start. So we ask ourselves, how do you catch up when you're millennia behind? She manipulated the display, zooming in on the Reality Engine. The answer was simple. You don't play the same game. While you were perfecting technologies within the framework of conventional physics, we decided to examine the framework itself. High Executor Zorn leaned forward, his multiple eyes focusing intently on the display. You're claiming to have rewritten the laws of physics. Not rewritten, Martins corrected. Revealed. What you call the laws of physics are merely the default settings of our universe. The Reality Engine allows us to adjust those settings locally. To demonstrate, the Prometheus began to fragment, not breaking apart but existing in multiple locations simultaneously. Each fragment was the complete ship, yet somehow also part of a greater whole that transcended normal spatial relationships. Quantum superposition on a macroscopic scale, Velkath observed, her energy form fluctuating wildly. But the energy requirements would be infinite, by conventional calculations, Martinez agreed, which is why we don't use conventional energy. The Reality Engine draws power from the fundamental substrate of existence itself, the quantum foam that underlies all reality. The Prometheus reformed into a single entity, then demonstrated another capability. A section of space near the ship began to warp, not bending like gravitational lensing, but actually rewriting itself. A small asteroid that had been drifting nearby simply ceased to exist, not destroyed but edited out of reality. Selective reality revision, Martins explained as the alien delegates recoiled in shock. We can remove threats from existence or create resources from the quantum vacuum. The distinction between matter and energy becomes meaningless when you can manipulate the information that defines both. Symbiarch Quellen's biological form shifted uneasily. This goes beyond warfare. You're talking about fundamental control over existence itself. Indeed, Martinez nodded, which brings us to Project Phoenix. She gestured, and the tactical display expanded to show not just the Prometheus, but hints of other shapes hidden in the folds of space-time around the station. What you're seeing is one vessel of our reconnaissance fleet. The Prometheus and her sister ships are designed for exploration and first contact scenarios. Our actual combat vessels, well, perhaps a small demonstration would be appropriate. She touched a control on her wrist device. Prometheus, please signal the Endeavor to reveal minimum tactical configuration. Space itself seemed to hold its breath. Then, reality screamed. What appeared wasn't a ship in any conventional sense. It was a wound in the universe, a geometric impossibility that existed in defiance of sanity itself. The UES Endeavor manifested as a fractal construct of pure mathematics, its form constantly calculating and recalculating itself through dimensions that shouldn't exist. Weapon systems weren't visible because the entire vessel was a weapon, a tool for imposing human will upon the fundamental structure of reality. Where the Prometheus manipulated local physics, the Endeavor rewrote the cosmic source code itself. The Endeavor is what we call a reality dreadnought, Martins explained as the alien delegates struggled to maintain their composure. It doesn't fight battles in any way you would understand. It simply decides what the outcome should be, and reality conforms to that decision. Shadow Weaver Crix's form was flickering erratically, her connection to dark matter disrupted by the Endeavor's presence. This is madness. You risk unraveling the fabric of existence. On the contrary, Martins replied, we're revealing that existence is far more robust and malleable than anyone imagined. The universe isn't fragile. It's adaptive, responsive, almost eager to explore new configurations. The Endeavor demonstrated by creating a pocket universe beside itself, a tiny bubble of alternative reality where different physical laws applied. Within this bubble, matter behaved according to rules that allowed for impossible structures and energy patterns that defied conventional physics. Each reality dreadnought carries the capability to create custom universes for specific tactical needs. Martins continued, we can generate regions where enemy weapons simply cannot function, or where their shields become liabilities rather than defenses. Ambassador Thrax had recovered enough to attempt defiance. You expect us to believe that humanity, newcomers to the galactic stage, have surpassed civilizations with millennia of advancement. Martinez smiled. Not surpassed, transcended. You refined existing paradigms to perfection. We questioned the paradigms themselves. When you've been working within a system for thousands of years, it becomes difficult to imagine that the system itself might be arbitrary. She gestured to the viewport where both human vessels now performed an intricate dance of impossibilities. We had no preconceptions to overcome, no ancient traditions to uphold. We approached the universe with fresh eyes and asked the most dangerous question in science. What if everything we think we know is wrong? The tactical display shifted to show energy readings from both human ships. The numbers were meaningless, not because they were too high, but because they operated on principles that standard sensors couldn't quantify. Your scientists told you that certain things were impossible, Martinez continued. Faster than light travel required exotic matter. Quantum effects couldn't scale to macroscopic levels. The speed of light was absolute. Conservation laws were inviolable. We simply asked, says who? Velkath's energy form had stabilized somewhat, analytical curiosity overcoming shock. You're suggesting that all physical laws are arbitrary. Not arbitrary, contextual, Martins clarified. The universe operates according to certain patterns, yes, but those patterns are more like suggestions than absolute rules. With sufficient understanding, they can be negotiated with. To demonstrate this point, the Prometheus and Endeavor began to merge, not physically but conceptually. They became a single entity that existed in multiple states simultaneously. Two ships, one ship, no ship, all ship. The display couldn't track what was happening because the very notion of separate objects was being violated. The reality engine technology represents humanity's first steps into what we call fundamental physics, Martins explained. We're not manipulating energy or matter anymore. We're manipulating the rules that define what energy and matter can be. High Executor Zorn's mental emanations betrayed deep concern. And you've militarized this technology. We've integrated it into our defense infrastructure. Martins corrected diplomatically. But perhaps more importantly, we've used it to revolutionize every aspect of human civilization. Medicine, agriculture, energy production, space exploration, all transformed by our ability to negotiate with reality itself. She paused, letting the implications sink in. Which brings us to why we're really here today. Humanity didn't develop these capabilities to dominate or conquer. We developed them because we believe the universe is far more interesting than anyone previously imagined. The two human vessels separated and began projecting something new. Not weapons or shields, but patterns of pure information that rippled through space-time itself. The patterns were beautiful, complex, and somehow communicated concepts that transcended language. We're offering to share this knowledge, Martins announced, shocking the alien delegates into stunned silence. Not the weapons, not immediately. That would be irresponsible. But the basic principles, the fundamental insights that led us to question reality itself. Symbiarch Quellen was the first to find their voice. You would share such power. Why? Because the universe is vast and mysterious, and we've only scratched the surface of what's possible, Martins replied. Imagine what we could discover together, combining your millennia of refinement with our willingness to question everything. The galaxy could become our laboratory, reality itself our canvas. The demonstration continued as the human vessels began to create structured distortions in space-time, not for combat, but for communication. They were writing messages in the fabric of reality itself, equations and concepts that hinted at possibilities beyond imagination. Of course, Martins added with a slight smile, this offer comes with certain expectations. The petty conflicts, the posturing, the zero-sum thinking that has characterized galactic politics, all of that needs to end. It's hard to explore the fundamental nature of existence when you're worried about border disputes. The alien delegates exchanged glances, their various forms of nonverbal communication crackling with intensity. They were being offered a choice: cling to their traditional power structures and face obsolescence, or join humanity in a journey that would redefine the very nature of existence. As reality continued to dance to humanity's tune outside the viewport, the five most powerful civilizations in the galaxy realized they stood at a crossroads. The age of conventional warfare and technological supremacy was ending. The age of reality engineering was beginning. And humanity, the newcomers they had dismissed as primitive, held the keys to this new kingdom. The paradigm shift. The Grand Council chamber had transformed from a showcase of military might into something resembling the university lecture hall. The five alien delegations, once proud and dismissive, now sat in rapt attention as Dr. Martinez continued her explanation of humanity's reality-bending technology. Outside the viewport, the UES Prometheus and UES Endeavor had created a demonstration area, a pocket of space where the normal rules of physics were suspended. Within this zone, they performed feats that would have been considered divine miracles by less advanced civilizations. The key insight, Martinez explained, manipulating a holographic representation of quantum fields, was realizing that what we call physical laws are actually emergent properties of information patterns at the quantum level. Change the pattern, change the law. Ambassador Thrax, his earlier hostility replaced by scientific curiosity, leaned forward. But the energy requirements for such manipulation must be astronomical. How do you power these reality engines? Martinez smiled. That's the beauty of it. Once you understand that energy itself is just another pattern, you realize it can be negotiated with. The reality engine doesn't consume energy in the conventional sense. It convinces the universe that energy already exists where we need it. To demonstrate, the Prometheus created a miniature star from apparently nothing, a perfect fusion reactor that burned with impossible stability. The star existed for exactly 10 seconds before dissolving back into the quantum foam, leaving no trace it had ever been. Conservation laws still apply, Martinez clarified, noting the confusion on several alien faces, but they apply across dimensions and timeline branches that your current physics doesn't account for. We're not creating energy from nothing. We're borrowing it from parallel possibilities. Velkat's energy form pulsed with intellectual excitement. You're suggesting that every quantum possibility creates a branching timeline, and you've found a way to exchange resources between these branches. Precisely, Martinez nodded. What you're seeing isn't violation of physical laws, but rather their completion. The universe is far more interconnected than anyone realized. High Executor Zorn's multiple eyes focused on different aspects of the demonstration simultaneously. The implications for warfare are obsolete. Martinez interrupted gently. That's what we're trying to convey. Traditional warfare becomes meaningless when you can simply edit your enemy out of existence, or better yet, edit reality so that the conflict never existed in the first place. She gestured to the demonstration zone, where the Endeavor was now creating cascading patterns of altered physics. In one region, light moved faster than standard. In another, gravity flowed in reverse. The boundaries between these zones formed fractal patterns of breathtaking complexity. But we discovered something far more important than military applications, Martinez continued. We discovered that reality itself is collaborative. It wants to explore new configurations, new possibilities. The universe is not a fixed stage upon which we act. It's a dynamic partner in the dance of existence. Shadow Weaver Crix emerged from her contemplative silence. You speak of reality as if it has consciousness. Not consciousness as we understand it, Martinez clarified. But there is a responsiveness, a flexibility that suggests something deeper than mere mechanical laws. When we approach reality with creativity rather than force, it responds in kind. The demonstration shifted to show something new. The human vessels began creating stable structures of impossible geometry. 4-dimensional hypercubes, Klein bottles made of pure energy, Mobius strips of warped spacetime. Each construct embodied mathematical concepts that had previously existed only in theory. This is what we offer, Martinez said, her voice filled with passion. Not just new weapons or defenses, but a new relationship with existence itself. Imagine architecture that exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Medical techniques that edit disease out of reality. Energy systems that draw power from the space between moments. Symbiarch Quellen's biological form adapted and flowed, responding to the concepts being presented. You're proposing a fundamental shift in how we interact with the universe. From users to partners. Exactly, Martinez confirmed. The path forward isn't domination but collaboration, with each other and with reality itself. The alien delegates fell into contemplative silence, each processing the paradigm shift in their own way. The military posturing that had opened the symposium seemed childish now, like toddlers arguing over toys while adults discussed reshaping the world. Finally, Ambassador Thrax spoke, his crystalline form resonating with newfound humility. The Kryn Empire has spent millennia perfecting the art of destruction. Perhaps it's time we learn the art of creation. One by one, the other delegates voiced similar sentiments. The Vorlax would share their quantum expertise. The Zentari offered their neural networking knowledge. The Umbral Collective proposed joint research into dark matter applications. The Quarian Alliance suggested biological interfaces for reality manipulation. Then we are agreed, Martinez said, satisfaction evident in her voice. Today marks the beginning of a new era, not of human dominance, but of galactic collaboration in exploring the true nature of existence. She input a command, and the human vessels began their final demonstration. The Prometheus and Endeavor merged their reality fields, creating the zone of pure potential. Within this space, they manifested a structure that served as both promise and invitation. a research station that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, its architecture incorporating elements from all 6 civilizations. The Genesis Station, Martins announced, our first joint project, a facility dedicated to exploring reality engineering for the benefit of all. Here, we'll combine our knowledge, our perspectives, our dreams of what the universe could be. The station solidified, becoming a permanent fixture in space-time. Its form was simultaneously familiar and alien to each observer, a perfect synthesis of galactic architectural styles viewed through the lens of impossible physics. As the delegates prepared to return to their respective civilizations with news of this unprecedented alliance, Martinez offered one final thought. We showed you our ships today not to intimidate, but to inspire. Humanity's greatest strength was never our technology. It was our willingness to ask, what if? Now we invite you all to ask that question with us. The symposium concluded not with the usual treaties and boundaries, but with something far more profound. A shared commitment to transcend the limitations that had defined galactic civilization for millennia. In the months that followed, the Genesis Station became a beacon of cooperation and discovery. Scientists from all 6 civilizations worked side by side, their combined knowledge yielding breakthroughs that none could have achieved alone. The galaxy entered a golden age of exploration and innovation, led not by force of arms, but by force of imagination. And somewhere in the depths of space, the human fleet continued its quiet vigil, not as conquerors or guardians, but as fellow travelers on a journey to understand the infinite possibilities of existence. The 5 aliens who had boasted about their battleships learned that humanity's greatest weapon was never their ships. It was their unshakable belief that reality itself was negotiable, and their willingness to share that revolution with the galaxy. As Dr. Martinez had said in her closing remarks, the universe is not our enemy to be conquered, but our partner to dance with. And what a dance it shall be. The age of reality engineering had begun, and the cosmos would never be the same. E&D.